Hey, so I felt inspired to make a short little video to update on my healing journey. Because I haven't been on for a few months. But what inspired me, and it's like 1:47 in the morning. What inspired me to make this video is a line off of a movie I was just watching, and it's a movie called The Reader, I believe. And I can't remember which actor said it, but I had the closed caption on, and then it had read, because my TV was turned down real low, but it read that love love is the only thing that makes the soul whole. And for whatever reason, when I read that, it just triggered so many sweet emotions within me. Like, it almost brought me to tears as I just kept reflecting on that line. Love is the only thing that makes the soul whole. And just lately on my healing journey, I just find it to be so true. Like, just, with losing my parents, both of them, losing my oldest brother, now it's just me and my other brother. And I just been chilling with my dog lately and just doing a lot of reflection, trying to get to the bottom of the reason that some things that was on my mind, some ways that I thought, self-perception, worldview ideas and beliefs that I had that I've just been trying to work through and just heal. I realized like the healing is an inside job, and it's mainly just of your mind. And so anyway, just reading that, love is the only thing that makes your heart, or love is the only thing that makes your soul whole. That is so true. Like, literally, this is how I know God is real. And just the time that I've been spending just a little more secluded, not really hanging out much, just trying to enjoy my own company and really understand like the gift of life, the truth behind it. Like, it's just made me realize that it's for sure God, the divine. I just know it's some kind of divine intelligence that is the reason this whole entire universe is here. And the reason I've been able to maintain my peace is from just really reflecting on God, and just knowing that literally every moment I'm alive is a gift. He's the reason my heart beats. And that's just been so powerful for me. Just that realization. Like, my existence is not because of me. It's not because of my money. It's not because of my car. It's not because of my parents, my friends. It's because it's something that's bigger than all of us. And I call it God. Some people call it, every person has their own name that they tie to their faith. But I know, for me, I just know it's God. I feel like it's a divine energy source that's so intelligent, that's just operating everything, including my heartbeat. And that this divine presence, God, it just loves me so much, unconditionally. And that I need to do everything in my power, and that's what I've been doing, everything in my power to untangle some of the ideas I had, ruminating thoughts, self-perceptions, internal chatter that sometimes isn't so healthy. And just unlearning and then relearning, for me, my personal truth, of just trying to ensure that I see my way, see who I am through His eyes. And so just lately, for whatever reason, I've been watching a lot of films on it's like some good Egypt films, some stuff about Babylonian times and Roman Empire, some archaeology stuff. It's really cool. And then something just hit me like, wait a minute. So it sprung up in my mind, so I had to share it just in case this could help someone else. Those in history are the ancient times like that, Aztec community, Egyptian times, Greek, Mayans, Romans. Something just came to me like, wait a minute. Every human being that's alive right now, every person, including me, we're descendants. We are descendants of people from those ancient times, whether we want to believe it or not. At least that's what I came to the conclusion, like, we are all descendants of these people from these times, whether it's the Babylonian times and slavery, of course, slavery history, just the different time periods, whether it was the Holocaust time. I mean, whatever these different times were in ancient history and in recent history, before we were all born, we're descendants of these people. And so whether we are descendants of the people back in history who were oppressed or the oppressor, either way, no matter what side of the descendant, the descendants were coming from, whether it's from the oppressed side or the oppressor side, as far as history is concerned, I was reflecting on like a lot of the ways that we think. We are all subconsciously impacted by those different eras of time and history, because we are literally descendants of those people, either on the side of the people who were oppressed or the side of the people who were oppressors. So then fast forward, as I'm just reflecting on my life and just things that I'm trying to heal for myself psychologically. And sometimes when I catch a glimpse of the news or some things going on in the world that just seem, sad a little bit, a lack of love, in some cases a lot of fear. Just either way, it just made me realize, like, wow, we're all subconsciously programmed on either side. And it's almost like the only way for things to get better in the world is for each of us individually to be willing to take a dive into our psyche, spend time with ourselves, and try to understand some of the ways that we see ourselves and some of the world views and that we have for other people, the judgments, the perspectives that may be harsh, the perspectives even that are good. Either way, we're all influenced by the different agendas of our ancestors, depending on what side you were on. We're all influenced by what was going on in those different time frames in history, and whatever the agenda was, and how they came to conclusions and made decisions. And then as time continued to pass, leading up to today, each era of time in our history, whether it's a recent history or far ancient history even, whatever the agenda was in those different time periods, I started to think, like, you better believe that it's psychological programming and conditioning and ways of believing and seeing other people that are different, or seeing yourself or myself, is highly affected by our history, because those thought processes, those beliefs, those ideas, those perspectives have been passed down and carried down leading up to today. So then if you are for example, a descendant of the more oppressed people from ancient times and in history, more recent history, then you will be here in the modern day with potentially an internal voice that is a feeling of maybe not being good enough, not being enough, not being worthy, or, powerlessness, just the different words that you can think of if you think of the word of oppression, and then think of how being a descendant of an oppressed group of people from the recent past or ancient history, how the psychological impact it can have. It just trickles down the bloodline. It just keeps trickling down generation to generation to make you, not feel like you're capable or something, potentially. Like you're not capable, like you're not worthy, like you don't have anything to contribute. And then on the other side, if you're a person, now these are just my reflective thoughts, so hear me out. If you are a person who is a descendant of the people from the slightly recent past or ancient history who were oppressors, well, fast forward in modern times, it would make sense that people living today who are descendants of those people have a mindset that may be fixed with the idea that their worth comes from power, or their worth comes from how much money they have in the bank, or their worth comes from doing whatever it takes to get to the top, and not having unconditional love for someone, even if they look different, because you're a descendant. And so the mindsets and the beliefs and the psychological imprint from those set of descendants make you view things differently. So every person is viewing their life and their self-identity based off of quite a bit of subconscious programming that I think often we don't even realize is there, that's driving our behaviors, that's driving our judgments, that's driving our feeling of worthiness or lack thereof, or feeling of powerlessness or lack thereof, or the feeling of being superior or inferior to a certain person. But then when I saw this movie tonight, and that line said, "Love is the only thing that will make the soul whole." That's the honest truth. And it's the love, it's bigger than the love from your parents or your friends or your spouse. It's about knowing that you are unconditionally loved inherently, no matter what side of the fence you are a descendant of, or no matter what your outer appearance look like, no matter what your career is, no matter who your spouse is, no matter how wealthy you are or not, how big your house is or not. The love is unconditional and it's inherent, no matter who you are. That's the way the divine, the universe, God sees you, because he's the one, that intelligent divine force that's the reason that this entire universe exists. He's the one that's responsible for beating all of our hearts. He's the reason we're all alive. Like, if you really think about it, we're not thinking ourselves to be here. I'm not thinking myself to have a heartbeat. It's something bigger. It's something bigger, much more intelligent, that is keeping us all here, right now in this moment. And like when you can really absorb that and take that in, and then find time to start to unlearn darker emotions and the darker internal voices that we sometimes have that it's not even our voice. These are voices of psychological programming and conditioning that's come down the lineage. Honestly, this is what I feel, that's impacting us and impacting how we're operating the world. But the truth is, we're all that divine intelligence, God, Allah, Buddha, the universe, the divine, whatever you may call your faith. It sees us all the same. We're all children of that same God. We all are. And it just boiled down to making the decision to want to change, making the decision to want to be more compassionate and understanding and open-minded to learn about other perspectives, And that's what's been really helping me really heal. Just to know that I'm unconditionally loved by God. I'm forgiven by God. And that He has compassion for me, because obviously I feel if I've, over this last few weeks or months, came to the conclusion about how there's a potential that are the descendants that we come from, the subconscious psychological programming that's come from the descendants way even far back in ancient history. We're descendants of those people. And so God is compassionate enough and forgiving enough. He knew that before I even came to that realization. So He knows a lot of the ways that we act and think and behave and view the world and view people in it, judge the prejudices that we have, the belief systems that we have, that we stand on concrete. He knows that those are psychological impressions that's been placed upon us, and that our true core essence is love. I mean, I just think about my mom. When she was alive, she would always say, Crystal, we're all born like a blank piece of paper. We all are. And then as time goes on and you develop teenage years, become an adult, of course, the family that you're around, the culture that you're around, the schools that you go to, the friends that you have, all you start to get impressed upon, like your belief systems and ideas and how you act and think. You get influenced by all of that. And so there you have it. But at the core, we're all love. At the core, we're all love. We are loved. It's inherent. And I just wanted to share, because this time I've been taking, it's really helped me have a lot more self-compassion, a lot more self-forgiveness with some of the ways that I might get frustrated with myself, because for one reason or another. And but just having self-forgiveness, because often things that may be going on in my life that I'm not happy with, or that I want to change, but I'm struggling to I'm struggling to make this adjustment, or to do certain things or habits or whatever it may be. The self-forgiveness, it's been so useful, because it's like, everything is learned behavior. And so you have to unlearn and then relearn your truth. And then have unconditional love for yourself. To know that you're doing the best that you can. And everybody is. And honestly, once I've come to the point where I can have self-compassion, self-forgiveness, and just unconditional love no matter what, and just really just try to stop judging and being so critical, it's helped me have compassion and forgiveness and unconditional love towards humanity, irregardless of their viewpoint. Specifically, they may not even like Black women. Who cares? It's just helped me have compassion, forgiveness, and just unconditional love for my fellow human, just humanity, period. Just universal love, no matter who it is and what they look like, whether they're mean or not. It doesn't matter, because now I've realized that every person on earth, no matter how they may act or dislike me or like me or not, or judge me or racial or not, you can have unconditional love, compassion, and forgiveness for other people when you have it for yourself first, because you'll realize they're just like you. Everybody's in one way or another programmed or conditioned or influenced to think a specific way about their self and their worldview. And it's based off of what they've been around. But at the core, we are all born like a blank piece of paper. So then that prejudices and racism and all those heavy judgments and disliking a certain group or not, or liking a certain group, all that's learned behavior that are man-made ideas that keep getting passed down, and then this is where we end up. You know, the biggest lesson for me is how, for whatever reason, the pandemic and that virus taught me something. It taught me that, you know, it's strength in numbers. It's strength in numbers. That virus mutated to multiple different strands just because it was trying to become stronger, to strengthen its ability to do what that virus job is. It's trying to survive. It don't want to be wiped out by the vaccine. So it's mutated to stronger strands to make it harder to beat, which sucks. But it was like, as I even reflected on it, I'm like, that virus didn't care about what the host looked like. It just tried to survive. Strength in numbers. And so that, I learned something from that. And it's like, wow, if all I know is I'm going to continue to look at the man in the mirror, look at myself. It's not about trying to change someone else and their viewpoint and perspective, because everybody is influenced by their environment, just like how I was. And I had prejudices or belief systems and limiting beliefs and different things that I operated by that I thought were the truth. But until I realized, wow, that's all learned behavior, and we're all unconditionally loved by God. He sees us all, no matter what we look like or where we're at in the world. He sees us all as his child, or he can stop beating our heart and we can drop right now. Like, I can die like now. So it's purpose on all of our life. We're all special. And the only thing that makes a person's life more miserable than the other, even super rich people, you hear about suicide when somebody's got an excellent job, but it's about your relationship with yourself and what are you saying to yourself, and getting a lot more spiritually in touch and understanding God, whatever God or whatever name you assign to your faith, getting more tapped in and in touch with that power source. And it's going to come from within. And that was just the reason it triggered me to make this video. Hopefully it helps someone. Love, literally, and to just accept and know without a